Good morning, students. Now we have come to the next part. It is called the cardiac cycle. What do you mean by cardiac cycle? The sequence of events occurring from the beginning to the completion of one heartbeat. That means all the chambers, four chambers of the heart will be contracted, and after the relaxation, again heart will be contracted. So starting from one heartbeat to the completion of another heartbeat, beginning to the completion of one heartbeat is called the cardiac cycle. Starting contraction, that is atria or auricles. Now blood will be reaching to the ventricles. Ventricle also will be contracted, blood will be forced. So both the chambers will be in contracted phase. One heartbeat completely. Again next, the auricles will be starting to contract. So that's why it is called beginning and to the completion of one heartbeat is called the cardiac cycle. During cardiac cycle, blood flows through the chambers of the heart in a specific direction. Each cardiac cycle lasts for 0.8 seconds. The events during a single cardiac cycle involves, first what is happening, blood is passing from atria to the ventricles. So that is called atrial systole. Due to contraction only, blood will be passing from the atria to the ventricles. Contraction of auricles, that time is 0.1 second. Now ventricular systole, blood due to systole of the ventricles, contraction of the ventricle, blood will be forced to pass through the pulmonary artery or aorta. That is called contraction of the ventricles, 0.3 seconds. And ventricular diastole, again feeling of blood will be taking place to the ventricles from the atria. That means contraction of systole, contraction of atria will be taking place. Auricular systole it is called, atrial systole. Relaxation of ventricles, 0.4. So totally if we count, we will be getting, that is called 0.8 seconds. So ventricular diastole maximum time, atrial systole is 0.1 second, and this one ventricular systole is 0.3 seconds. So total 8 seconds. So how much time is needed? One complete cardiac cycle, 0.8 seconds. One more question. Now next one, heart sound. Rhythmic closing and opening. Closing and opening of the valves cause the sound of the heart. We told that there are three valves are present. Right or atrioventricular valve, or it is called a tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve, and semilunar valves. Now the first sound, it is called lub, very prominent sound, LUBB, is a longer duration and produced by the closure of tricuspid and bicuspid valve. Tricuspid and bicuspid after the beginning of the ventricular systole. Second sound, it is called the dub, DUBB, not P, B, double B. Second sound, double P or double B, is of shorter duration and produced by the closure of semilunar valves which are present at the mouth of the or at the end of the base of the aorta and pulmonary artery. At end of the closure of the semilunar valves, where they are present at the base of pulmonary artery and the aorta, at the end of ventricular systole. So because of these reasons we are getting lub-dub sound. Now next one, blood pressure. What do you mean by blood pressure? Now blood pressure is the force exerted during the flow of blood against the lateral wall of the artery. Suppose this is the blood vessel. From the heart the blood is passing through. So blood will be giving pressure to the wall of the heart, which is called the blood pressure. If the heart is these are the blood vessels. If the blood vessel has become stiff, wall has become stiff, the blood has to pass, it will give more and more pressure, which is called the high blood pressure. Generally we are saying. So blood pressure is nothing but the pressure exerted by the blood when it is passing through the blood vessel. Where it is giving the pressure? To the wall of the heart, lateral wall of the heart, which is called the blood pressure. So blood pressure is the force exerted during the flow of blood against the lateral wall of the arteries. Blood pressure is high in the arteries, gradually drops in the arterioles and capillaries, and they become very low in the veins. Blood pressure is usually expressed in terms of systolic and diastolic pressure. If we go to the doctor, they will be writing BP, blood pressure is first. On top they will be writing systolic pressure, which is high, and down they will be writing down 110 by 80, like that way they will be writing, which is called the systolic and diastolic pressure. So the blood pressure is usually expressed in terms of systolic pressure and diastolic pressure. Systolic pressure means which is the very great pressure, large pressure. See, during ventricular systole, the left ventricle contracts and forces the blood into the aorta. This pressure rises to a peak, which is referred to as systolic pressure. And diastolic pressure, during diastole, the ventricles relax. After sending the blood to the aorta, the ventricles will be no pressure at all because blood has already passed. Now filling will be taking place from the aorta. So the ventricles relax and the pressure falls to the lowest value, which is called, referred to as the diastolic pressure. In a healthy adult, during normal resting condition, the systolic and diastolic pressure will be 120 by 180 mmHg. The units are very much important. millimeter per Hg against the mercury blood atmospheric pressure. Blood pressure varies during the conditions of physical exercise, anxiety, emotion, stress, and sleep. Blood pressure will be increasing. A prolonged or constant elevation of the blood pressure is a condition known as hypertension or high BP, it is called. Can increase the risk of heart attack and stroke. Decrease in blood pressure, which is called hypotension, it is also called the low blood pressure. Now, what are the instruments that are used to measure the blood pressure? Now, first one will be, two instruments have been discussed in your syllabus. One is called the stethoscope. Stethoscope is the instrument which is used to detect the sound produced by the internal organs of human body. So, what is the purpose of stethoscope? Is used to detect, to find out the sound produced by the internal organs, mainly the heart. Even the stomach, how it is functioning, lungs, how it is functioning, that all that sound also can be get with the help of this instrument, which is called the stethoscope. The heart sound is heard by placing the stethoscope on the chest. It is a useful diagnostic tool to identify and localize health problems. We can find out any problem is there in the heart or not, that can be found out with the help of this instrument and diagnose disease. The modern electronic stethoscopes are high precision instruments, very advanced instruments. That is the stethoscope. This is the diagram of stethoscope. Now, second is called the sphygmomanometer. Sphygmomanometer, the instrument which is used to measure the blood pressure. Yeah, heart sound, sphygmomanometer. Sphygmomanometer is a clinical or medical instrument used to measure the blood pressure. When a person is in a relaxed and resting condition, blood pressure should be measured. The pressure of the brachial artery is measured. Brachial artery means wherever that is at the hand region, the stethoscope, the sphygmomanometer to be used to find out the blood pressure. It helps to estimate the state of blood circulation and the working of the heart. It helps to diagnose what is another function. In first function, it helps to estimate the state of blood circulation and the working of the heart. Number two, it helps to diagnose the conditions such as increased or decreased blood pressure. There are two types of sphygmomanometers are there. Monometric and modern digital types are the apparatus used to measure the blood pressure. So this is monometric, and B1, this is called the digital. This one monometric generally we are using. If you go for any hospital or doctor, they will be using this type monometric, and this is called the digital nowadays blood. Okay, thank you children till here.